After my wife died, my son said, "I want the estate, the business, everything." My lawyer begged me to fight. I said, "Give it all to him." Everyone thought I'd lost my mind. At the final hearing, I signed the papers. Stephen smiled until his lawyer turned pale when he read one sentence. "I'm Harold Richardson, 68 years old, and I'm about to tell you how my own son tried to destroy me and how my late wife saved us both from beyond the grave. Follow my story until the end and comment the city you're watching from so I can see how far my story has reached." The funeral flowers were still fresh when Stephen decided to ruin me. I was sitting in Margaret's chair at our kitchen table, the same spot where we'd planned our retirement after my 35 years at Ford Motor Company. 40 years of marriage, and now my 45-year-old son thought he could decide my fate. Stephen wore his grief like one of those expensive suits he bought in Phoenix. He had my determination but none of my work ethic. His cold gray eyes looked at me like I was a broken transmission he needed to scrap for parts. "Dad," he said in that lawyer voice I'd grown to hate, "we need to discuss Mom's estate." I knew something was wrong. Stephen hadn't visited us once during Margaret's 2-year battle with cancer, but suddenly he's concerned about family business. During all those late-night drives to Sacramento General for emergency treatments, where was he? When Margaret needed someone to help her to the bathroom because the chemo made her so weak, where was my successful attorney son then? What kind of discussion? I asked, though my gut was already telling me this wouldn't be pleasant. Stephen pulled out a thick manila folder and spread papers across Margaret's antique oak table. The same table where she'd taught Stephen his multiplication tables, where we'd celebrated his law school graduation, where we'd worried about his drinking in college. "The will is clear, Dad. The house here in Sacramento, valued at $850,000, transfers to me. The cabin at Lake Tahoe, $750,000, also mine. Your auto repair business, roughly $400,000, comes to me too." Each number hit like a sledgehammer to my chest. Our home where we'd raised Stephen, celebrated every Christmas, grown old together, gone. The 3-bedroom ranch we'd bought in 1985 for $85,000 and spent 30 years improving with our own hands. I'd built that deck myself, installed new windows, rewired the whole place when Stephen was in high school. The cabin where Margaret and I spent our honeymoon, where I taught Stephen to fish when he was 8, where Margaret had her first remission celebration, gone. The business hurt most. I'd started Richardson Auto Repair in 1990 with nothing but a toolbox and a $10,000 loan. Worked 70-hour weeks for 20 years to build it into something decent. 6 bays, computerized diagnostic equipment, a customer base that trusted me because I never cheated anybody. All going to a son who couldn't change his own oil. "And what about me?" I asked. "Well, there's the life insurance. $200,000 should be enough for your needs. $200,000 for a 68-year-old man who'd worked his whole life. Someone who'd built a successful business from scratch, paid off a mortgage, put his kid through law school." "I see. It's not personal, Dad. Mom always intended family assets to stay with blood family. Traditional inheritance rights, you understand?" Stephen's voice had that practiced tone he probably used on opposing counsel. Traditional rights, like 40 years of marriage, meant nothing. Like the business I'd bled and sweated for somehow belonged to him by birthright. Like all those years Margaret and I sacrificed to pay for his education, his car insurance, his credit card bills in college didn't count for anything. "Of course, you can stay in the house for 30 days while you find a place. We think that's fair. 30 days to uproot a lifetime." I looked around the kitchen. The coffee maker Margaret bought last Christmas because she said the old one made the coffee too weak. The window over the sink where she watched the birds every morning while I got ready for work. The refrigerator covered with pictures of Stephen from Little League to law school graduation. "There's one more thing." Stephen pulled out another document, and something in his tone made my stomach drop. "Mom's medical bills. Cancer treatment was expensive, as you know. Insurance covered most of it, but there's still $180,000 outstanding. As her husband and the person who made the medical decisions, you're legally responsible." The room spun slightly. $180,000 in debt with only $200,000 from insurance. That left me $20,000 to start over at 68 years old. In Sacramento, California, where a decent apartment runs $1,500 a month. "But surely the estate," I began. "The estate assets are tied up in probate," Stephen interrupted smoothly. "And given the specific terms of the will, those debts are considered separate from inherited properties. It's unfortunate, but that's how these things work legally." Stephen packed up his papers like he'd just finished a successful business transaction. I'll have the transfer documents ready next week. Thanks for understanding, Dad. This'll be smoother for everyone if we keep it simple. Understanding? Smooth? I sat there as shadows crept across the kitchen, surrounded by 40 years of memories and the crushing weight of my new reality. Margaret's coffee cup still sat in the sink from her last morning. Her reading glasses were still on the counter next to yesterday's newspaper, folded to the crossword puzzle she never got to finish. Then I remembered Margaret's recipe box. She'd kept it on the counter for decades. This old wooden thing her mother gave her when we got married. Inside, beneath recipe cards for her famous apple pie and pot roast that Stephen used to love. My fingers found something I'd never seen before, a small USB drive labeled for Harold, important in Margaret's careful handwriting. My hands were shaking as I plugged it into her old Dell laptop, the one she used for her crossword puzzles and Facebook. The screen filled with folders. Stephen's activities, financial records, Harold's future, and insurance information. My blood went cold reading the first file minus printed emails between Stephen and someone named Carl Murphy dated 8 months ago. Carl, Dad's getting overwhelmed since Mom got sick. Perfect time to move on inheritance transfer. Can you expedite the paperwork we discussed? Carl's reply made my stomach churn. Stephen? Documents are ready. Once your father signs, business assets transfer to our LLC. Properties can be claimed immediately after death. What about the medical bills? Dad won't be a problem. He doesn't understand legal stuff, and Mom's too sick to interfere. By the time he figures anything out, it'll be too late. I'll have power of attorney for his mental incompetence. I had to read it 3 times before it sank in. Stephen had been planning this while Margaret was dying. While I was holding her hand through chemotherapy sessions, driving her to radiation treatments at 6 a.m., sleeping in hospital chairs when her white blood cell count dropped, my son was plotting to steal everything we'd worked for. The next folder contained bank statements I'd never seen. Richardson Holdings LLC, balance $4.7 million below it. Margaret's handwritten note in blue ink. Harold, this is our real savings. Stephen thinks all our money is tied up in the house and business, but I've been moving everything here since I got suspicious. I was protecting us, honey. You always said I was too trusting, but I learned to watch people's actions instead of their words. $4.7 million. We weren't poor. Margaret had been quietly wealthy, systematically transferring money from our joint accounts, our CDs, even the business account I thought only I had access to. She'd been one step ahead this entire time. The investigation folder hit me like a freight train. Photos of Stephen coming and going from Nevada casinos, the Peppermill in Reno, Harvey's at Lake Tahoe, places I'd driven past never knowing my son was inside losing his shirt. Bank records showed $230,000 in gambling debts to various creditors, some with names like Desert Financial Services that sounded more like loan sharks than legitimate businesses. But Stephen's law practice was worse. The folder contained evidence his successful Phoenix firm was actually stealing client funds. Elderly people trusted him with their estate planning, and he'd been systematically draining their accounts. He'd lost nearly $300,000 of other people's retirement money, including funds belonging to a 78-year-old widow named Dorothy Walsh, who'd hired him to protect her savings from her own greedy relatives. I found myself laughing not from humor, but from the bitter irony. Here was my son, stealing from old people to feed his gambling addiction, while planning to do the exact same thing to his dying mother. Then I found the medical reports folder. Margaret had been thorough, documenting everything. There was a report from Dr. Jennifer Walsh, an oncologist I'd never heard of, dated 3 months before Margaret's death. Patient shows remarkable mental clarity despite physical deterioration. Cognitive function remains completely intact. Treatment decisions demonstrate sound judgment and forward-thinking planning. Stephen had been telling everyone who'd listen that Margaret's cancer was affecting her mind, that she wasn't capable of making rational decisions about the estate. But this report proved otherwise. Margaret had been sharp as a tack right until the end, sharp enough to outmaneuver her scheming son. The smoking gun was buried in the legal documents folder, a copy of a different will, not the outdated one Stephen had shown me, but one dated just 6 weeks before Margaret's death. This will left everything to me with a simple note. Harold may choose what, if anything, Stephen receives based on Stephen's actions and character. Margaret's handwriting in the margin, original held by Coleman and Associates downtown, not Peterson's firm. Stephen doesn't know about them, 2 wills. Stephen had somehow gotten hold of an old version and was using it to steal his inheritance, while the real, legal will was safely stored with attorneys he'd never heard of. But why hadn't Coleman and Associates contacted me after the funeral? I found the answer in Margaret's correspondence file. She'd specifically instructed them to wait until I discovered the USB drive before making contact. She knew me well enough to predict I'd find her recipe box eventually. Probably when I was trying to make her apple pie recipe to remember her. Margaret's final letter was at the bottom of the drive, and reading it broke my heart all over again. My dearest Harold, if you're reading this, then our son has shown his true colors, just like I feared. I discovered his gambling and theft 6 months ago when he asked me to co-sign a loan. Something in his eyes reminded me of his father's brother Eddie. Remember him? Always had a scheme, always needed money, always had excuses. I hired Douglas Coleman to investigate quietly. What we found made me sick. Our boy, the one we sacrificed for, the one we sent to law school, has become everything we raised him not to be. He's stealing from vulnerable old people, Harold. People like us. The house and business Stephen wants so badly. I mortgaged them both to the hilt over the past year. House has a $1.2 million lien. Business owes $800,000. He thinks he's inheriting assets, but he's inheriting financial disaster. Let him have exactly what he's demanding. The life insurance isn't $200,000 like that old policy he found. It's $500,000 from the new policy, plus another $300,000 from the accidental death rider I added. $800,000 total, all going to you. Take the money, start fresh somewhere warm like we always talked about. Let Stephen learn what real consequences feel like. I love you, Harold. You deserved better than the son we raised. Always yours, Margaret. I sat in that kitchen until well past midnight, processing everything Margaret had discovered and planned. She hadn't just protected me financially. She'd given me the power to decide Stephen's fate entirely. The next morning, Stephen called while I was making coffee in Margaret's kitchen. His voice had that fake, cheerful tone he used when he wanted something. Dad, Larry Peterson wants to meet today to finalize the paperwork. Can you be at his office at 2 p.m.? We can get this whole thing wrapped up quickly. I'll be there, son. Great. And Dad, I really appreciate how you're handling this. Mom would be proud of how smoothly we're working together. Mom would be proud. If Stephen only knew what his mother really thought about him now. I spent the morning in my garage workshop, the place where I'd always done my best thinking. 38 years of Ford assembly line work had taught me to break down complex problems into manageable parts. This situation with Stephen was just another mechanical puzzle that needed the right approach. I laid out Margaret's evidence files on my workbench like I was organizing parts for a transmission rebuild. Bank statements here, gambling records there, stolen client funds documentation in a separate pile. I'd learned from my years at Ford that documentation was everything. Quality control inspectors could shut down an entire assembly line if the paperwork wasn't perfect. Stephen was about to learn the same lesson. My old Craftsman toolbox had a hidden compartment where I kept important documents, the deed to the garage, insurance papers, the original partnership agreement when I bought out my business partner in 1998. Now it held copies of everything Margaret had gathered, plus the business card for Coleman and Associates that she'd paperclipped to her final letter. Douglas Coleman answered on the first ring. Mr. Richardson, I've been expecting your call. Your wife was very specific about the timing. She was specific about a lot of things, apparently. Mrs. Richardson was one of the most thorough clients I've ever worked with. She documented everything methodically, like she was building a legal case from the ground up. Are you ready to proceed with her plan? What exactly did she have in mind? She wanted to give Stephen exactly what he's asking for. No more, no less. The inheritance he's demanding comes with some financial obligations he's not aware of. I met Coleman at his office an hour before the Peterson meeting. He looked like an older version of me, minus gray hair, calloused hands, the kind of man who'd worked for everything he owned. His office was above a hardware store in Midtown Sacramento. Nothing fancy but organized and efficient. Your wife hired me because Stephen made a mistake, Coleman explained, spreading documents across his desk. He tried to get her to co-sign a loan last year. When she refused, he got angry and said some things about her mental capacity, about how she'd be better off in a nursing home where professionals could handle her finances. My hands clenched into fists. He said that to her while she was fighting cancer. Made the mistake of saying it over the phone. Your wife recorded the conversation. Coleman pulled out a small digital recorder. California's a one-party consent state, perfectly legal. Stephen's voice came through the speaker, slurred with alcohol and ugly with frustration. Look, Mom, you're not thinking clearly anymore. The cancer drugs are messing with your head. Let me handle your money before you do something stupid with it. Dad's too old to understand modern finance. Margaret's voice was weak but sharp. Stephen, I understand exactly what you're trying to do. Your father built that business with his own hands. He's earned every dollar we have. Dad's just a factory worker who got lucky. I'm the one with the education, the legal training. I should be managing the family assets, not some old guy who changes oil for a living. The recording continued with Stephen laying out his whole plan, how he'd have Margaret declared incompetent, how he'd convince me to sign power of attorney, how he'd liquidate everything to pay off his debts. He even bragged about stealing from his elderly clients, calling them walking wallets too stupid to notice. Coleman turned off the recorder. Your wife knew she didn't have long. She wanted to protect you and teach Stephen a lesson he'd never forget. The mortgages on the property. All legitimate. She took out home equity loans and business loans using the properties as collateral. The money went straight into the Richardson Holdings account that only you can access. When Stephen inherits those properties, he inherits the debt that comes with them. How much debt? House mortgage $1.2 million. Business property loan $800,000. Total obligation $2 million against properties worth maybe $1.6 million. Your son will be $400,000 underwater from day one. The genius of Margaret's plan was becoming clear. Stephen would get exactly what he demanded: the house, the cabin, the business, along with financial obligations that would destroy him. He'd spent so much time scheming to steal our assets that he'd never bothered to check if those assets had liens against them. What about the life insurance? Coleman smiled. Your wife was very clever about that too. She let Stephen find an old policy document that showed $200,000 coverage. But she'd actually increased the coverage to $500,000 last year, plus added a $300,000 accidental death benefit. Stephen thinks you're getting $200,000. You're actually getting $80,000, and the real will leaves everything to your discretion. You can give Stephen nothing, something, or everything. Your choice entirely. But if you give him what he's demanding, he gets the properties along with all associated debts, liens, and obligations. At 1:45 p.m., I drove to Larry Peterson's office with Coleman following in his own car. My heart was pounding like it did that day in 1987 when I walked into Ford's personnel office to negotiate my pension plan. This felt bigger than that, more permanent. Stephen was already there, sitting across from Peterson's desk like he owned the place. He'd brought Jennifer, his wife, probably for moral support or to witness his victory. She looked uncomfortable, fidgeting with her wedding ring and avoiding eye contact. Dad. Stephen stood up with a fake smile, right on time. Let's get this taken care of so we can all move forward. Peterson looked nervous, shuffling papers on his desk. Harold, I have to say, I'm still not comfortable with how quickly we're moving on this. Maybe we should take more time to review everything. No need, I said, settling into my chair. I've made my decision. I want to give Stephen exactly what he's asking for. Stephen beamed like he'd just won the lottery. That's wonderful, Dad. I knew you'd see reason. This is what's best for everyone. I pulled out the documents Coleman had prepared for me. You're absolutely right, Stephen. I'm giving you exactly what you asked for. I slid the papers across Peterson's mahogany desk. Stephen grabbed them eagerly, scanning the legal language with his trained lawyer's eye. His confident expression slowly changed as he read through the property transfer documents. His face went from triumphant to confused to pale. You're giving me the house and business, but these mortgage obligations. That's correct, son. You'll own properties worth approximately $1.6 million, and you'll also own the mortgages against those properties totaling $2 million. That puts you about $400,000 in debt from day one. You can't do this, Stephen said, but his voice was already cracking. Actually, I can. I pulled out Margaret's real will from my jacket pocket. Your mother left everything to me, Stephen. The choice of what you inherit was entirely mine to make. Larry Peterson was staring at the documents with complete shock. Jennifer had gone white as a sheet. Stephen's hands were actually shaking as he held the transfer papers. She knew about your gambling debts, Stephen. She knew about the money you stole from elderly clients. She documented every detail. I opened Coleman's evidence folder and spread it across the desk. Here's proof of your $230,000 debt to Nevada casinos. Here's documentation of the $300,000 you embezzled from client trust accounts. Coleman stepped forward and placed a digital recorder on the desk. Your mother recorded your phone conversation from last year, Stephen. The one where you called your dying mother stupid and your father just a factory worker who got lucky. Stephen's face had gone from pale to gray. This is harassment. You can't prove any of this, actually. We can prove all of it. Coleman pulled out another folder thick with bank records, photographs, and legal documents. Wire transfer records showing forged signatures on client accounts, casino surveillance photos, phone records. Your mother hired me to investigate you 8 months ago, and we have enough evidence to ensure criminal convictions for elder abuse, embezzlement, and fraud. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Peterson looked like he was witnessing a car accident. Jennifer was crying quietly. Stephen, I said, keeping my voice steady, your mother gave you a choice. Accept this inheritance exactly as offered, or we turn everything over to the district attorney's office. The evidence is overwhelming. Stephen sat in stunned silence for what felt like an hour. Finally, he found his voice. What do you want from me? I want you to sign those papers accepting the properties and their associated debts. I want you to agree never to contact me again unless it's through attorneys, and I want you to understand that this was your mother's choice, not mine. She planned every detail because you forced her hand. Jennifer spoke up for the first time, her voice barely a whisper. Stephen, just sign them, please. This will destroy us completely if it goes to trial. We'll lose everything anyway, Stephen said bitterly. You should have thought about that before you started stealing from your dying mother, I replied without an ounce of sympathy. Stephen looked up at me with something that might have been respect mixed with fear. She really planned all this, every single detail. Your mother was the smartest person I ever knew, Stephen, much smarter than you ever gave her credit for. In the end, Stephen signed the documents. He didn't have any choice. The alternative was prison, and even in his desperation, he wasn't ready for that reality. As they filed out of Peterson's office, Stephen paused at the door. This isn't over, Dad. Yes, it is, I replied calmly. It's completely over. 6 months later, I sold the mortgaged properties before Stephen could lose them to foreclosure. Used the proceeds to buy a modest ranch house in Roseville with a 3-car garage I converted into the workshop I'd always dreamed of having. Cost me $450,000 cash and still left me with more money than I could spend in 3 lifetimes. My attorney told me Stephen filed for bankruptcy within 90 days, lost his law license when the state bar investigated the client theft charges. Jennifer filed for divorce and moved back to Ohio with their 2 kids. Last I heard, Stephen was working construction in Phoenix, doing honest manual labor for the first time in his adult life. Sometimes in the evenings, when I'm rebuilding a carburetor or restoring furniture in my workshop, I think about Margaret and wonder if she'd approve of how everything turned out. Then I remember her final letter, her meticulous planning, her determination to protect me even while fighting cancer. She would have been completely satisfied. The workshop has become my sanctuary. I spend my days fixing neighbors' cars, building birdhouses, teaching local kids basic mechanical skills, the same knowledge my father passed down to me when I started at Ford back in 1978. Simple, honest work that feels meaningful after decades of watching Stephen choose shortcuts and schemes over genuine effort. 3 months ago, a social worker named Angela Stevens knocked on my garage door. Turned out she was Douglas Coleman's daughter, working with families dealing with financial elder abuse. She said her father thought I might be interested in helping other people going through what I'd experienced. That conversation led to the Margaret Richardson Foundation for Elder Financial Protection. We provide legal support, investigation services, and financial education for families dealing with inheritance fraud and elder abuse. It's not the legacy Stephen expected his mother to leave behind, but it's exactly what Margaret would have wanted. Now, I'm curious about you men listening to my story. What would you do if you were in my position? Have you ever dealt with family members who thought they could take advantage of your grief or your age? Drop a comment below and tell me what city you're watching from. I want to see how far Margaret's story reaches. Remember this: just because someone shares your blood doesn't mean they deserve your trust. Document everything, protect what you've worked for, and never let anyone convince you that your lifetime of honest work doesn't matter. You earned every dollar, and you have the right to decide who deserves it when you're gone.